Let's take a look at some practice problems. As you can see, we've got an image with lots of angles, and we have some given information. Anytime you have given information, always either draw a picture from scratch or draw the given information in the existing picture that you're given. So we're given a picture, but the given information is not represented in that picture, so we're going to represent that through some drawings. So AE is a line is our first given. If AE is a line, then the angle AFE is equal to 180 degrees because F is on that line. We can tell by looking in the picture. So we know that's 180 degrees. So let's write that. The measure of angle AFE is 180 degrees. So basically, we just translated AE as a line to this representation of AFE is 180 degrees. So let's draw an arc mark and let's write 180 degrees here, so we remember. Next, we have the measure of angle CFE is 90 degrees. So we have CFE is 90 degrees. Remember, the image we draw for representing 9 degrees is not a curved arc mark, but it's a little box in the corner. So let's draw that. Now we know that's 90 degrees. Let's take a look at the size of angles problems. We have 8 angles we're going to look at the size of. And we want to classify them as what size they are: acute, right, obtuse, straight, or reflex. So let's start with angle DFE. Here we have DFE, also known as EFD. As long as you're keeping your vertex as the middle letter and the 3 letters you're using to name an angle, and the first and last letter are the same, even if they're swapped, then it's the same angle. We know that this DFE is one of the 2 angles, the other being CFD, that if you put them together, they will create this right angle, CFE. So because of that, DFE has to be less than 90, so it's acute. Next is CFD. CFD. This is the angle we just talked about. That is the other angle paired with CFE to create the right angle. So it's another acute angle. One thing to think about is if you have 2 angles that are complementary, they are always both acute angles. Because if you're summing to 90 and you're at least 2 things, at least 2 angles, you have to be acute. Let's look at DFB. DFB. This one's a little funky because it's tilted. It's not just doesn't have a horizontal piece. It's tilted on its side. It's kind of like a turtle on its shell, which is very sad. Sorry, I'm already sorry I made that reference, but you know, that's what came to my mind. Save the turtles. Okay, so if you take a look at DF and you kind of try to visualize a right angle with that side, it's going to look something like this. As you can see, that's smaller than meeting up with this FB ray. So that means this has to be an obtuse angle, bigger than 90 degrees. Next we have CFA. CFA, well, that's the other side of the entire angle AFE, the other side of this right angle CFE. So if you've got a 180 degree angle and part of it's 90, the leftover piece has to be 90 because 180 minus 90 is 90. So this has to be another right angle. So let's go ahead and draw a box to represent that. This is a right angle. Next is CFB. CFB. Again, it's one of 2 angles that creates a right angle, so it's acute. Similar reasoning to our first 2 acute angles. BFA, BFA, one of the two, the other one to CFB to create the right angle CFA. So it's another acute angle. DFA is next. DFA, we see that we have this right angle here, and then this other piece of the angle, so it has to be obtuse because it doesn't go all the way to 180. It's greater than 90, but less than 180. Obtuse. And finally, EFA. EFA. Well, that's just the exact same angle as AFE, so that's 180 degrees. We can tell that it's on that line as well. That's going to be a straight angle. We didn't have any reflex angles, and we probably could tell that given our picture. There is no ray extending past that straight angle or that line AE. Next, we have sum of angles. So we're given two or more angles, and we're going to decide if they are complementary, supplementary, or neither. First, let's look at DFE and DFC. So DFE and DFC. Well, they make up this angle CFE. So that's going to be making a right angle, which means they are a complementary set. Complementary. Next is CFA, CFD, and DFE. So CFA is a right angle. CFD is this acute angle, and DFE is this acute. Well, that's created the entire AFE angle, or the entire line of AE, so those would be making a straight line. They are going to be supplementary. We can abbreviate. I'm just going to put sup. Next is CFD, CFD, and BFA. BFA. By looking at them, we know they're not supplementary because they're both acute angles. So we have to test if they are complementary. Notice that this angle BFD is the angle that would pair with AFB to create a right angle, aka complementary. We can tell that CFD is not equivalent to BFC. Therefore, these cannot be complementary, so they're neither. One more. DFE, DFE, and DFA. DFA. Well, that's this angle and this angle, so that creates the entire AE line, so they're again supplementary or sup. There's one more unwritten point to ponder I want to talk about. If you have two angles that are supplementary, they are called a linear pair. They form a line and two making a pair. So you can call them supplementary, but an extra vocab is linear pair. All right, that's it for basics of angles. See y'all next time.